It's gonna be one of those videos. Hey everybody, I'm going to be working today to get this thing back on the road. I've only got a few things to button up, so let's get started. Alright, I want to show y'all something really quick, because one of the things I'm buttoning up today is I'm putting all the new transmission hoses, or the cooler hoses. I'm replacing the old stuff with this new hose, which is really good. I like it a lot. I got it from the auto parts store. But I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and replace the older style hose clamps that you see all the time with this, oh, stick tight with me. Alright, with this newer type where it doesn't actually go through. There's no hole there. You can see, you can't see my finger through it. They're solid. They're much heavier duty. I'll put them side by side here. And they don't come undone. They don't leak nearly as bad as these do. Over time with vibration, these will actually back out. The screw drive will back out and they'll leak. These, I get them from West Marine, boat supply place around me, and they are way better. And I can't find them on Amazon that I know of, but if you know where these are, comment below. Like if you know where I can order these online, because at West Marine they're pretty expensive. Like that right there is $4, and I needed a lot of them to replace all the hoses underneath the truck. So I'm going to be using those. I just wanted to give you this tip. If you ever deal with a lot of hose clamps that leak or come loose, man, you put one of these on, tighten it down good, and you're done. It won't ever come undone. So there's a tip for you. All right, quick update. I'm letting the remainder of the transmission pan drain out. I've got the new hoses, clamps. There's two hoses here. I put the starter back in. I've got all the torque converter bolts tight. Over here you can see, let's go this way. I got those two hoses replaced up here. Those go into the transfer case cooling loop. There's actually a coil inside there that that cools the transfer case fluid. I do need to drain it and refill it, make sure the fluid's good in here too. But that's just a quick update. I'm about to pull the transmission pan, take a look at that, see what that looks like, put a new gasket on it, and that's about it. I think for the most part we're done with the torque converter swap. Now we're just doing some little stuff like the shifter linkage. I got to put the shifter back in, riv nutted in there, all that stuff. But I should be driving it by tomorrow. I'm going to come up here late tonight and work on it some, and then I'll come up here early in the morning and try to get it done so we can test drive it, see how well that torque converter works. So while we're waiting for the transfer case to drain, the transmission to drain, I'm going to start working on this. I'm going to just go through it, make sure everything's right, check the wiring. You can see the rubber boot didn't make it. It was all tore up, which is why so much heat was coming through right here. These two things were like heater vents because so much heat from under the truck was coming into the cab. So when I get the boot replaced, I should be able to cut down some on that. I know it will never be completely done, but I also need to take this off, which is just done underneath. There are two little nuts under there. And check the bulb, because when I hook it up it flickers sometimes it doesn't work at all. If I hit it, it'll work, so that probably means the bulb's about to die or there's a wiring issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started taking this thing apart. Probably gonna paint it too, just to freshen it up a little bit. Okay. Oh, is it not a bulb? These are sealed. I'm gonna have to buy an entire new one of these. Oh man, that sucks. I can test it though, at least. Put a 24 on it and see if it's the bulb inside or if it's the wiring. Dadgummit. Dad nabbit. Great. I just broke that pin that holds the shifter in. Wonderful, wonderful. I think it's just a roll pin though, so I should be able to find that pretty easy. It'll make it easier to paint, taking it out like that. I don't want to do that with this one, I don't think, do I? Do I want to go and just disassemble? I don't think I do. I can tape that up and paint it from up top. That's what I'm gonna do. Alright, let me look at this and plan a little bit. Alright, so I went overboard. I got this disconnected, I've sanded it down. I am gonna be painting. That's the transfer case shifter. Roll pin broke out of it. It's held into the shifter with just a roll pin, and as you can see, it is not in there. What else did I figure out? This is a single piece. You cannot replace the bulb, you have to replace the entire thing. So I'm going online tonight after I test that and make sure that's the problem. Got the shifter handle off. It's actually in really good shape, so I'm just going to kind of clean that up a little bit. The shifter itself, oh, here we go. Took the whole top plate off of it. I'm going to see if, I don't know what that is or how to get that off or on. I guess you drill it out, but I don't know how to get new ones back on. So I'm going to have to do a little research, figure that out. Paint this black again. And then there's this rubber that goes in between where the shifters slide in there. And I'm going to try to find a new one of these because that's really, really worn out and tearing. So while I got it apart, and I think that is it. I will get new hardware as well, so it'll be shiny new grade 8 hardware. And that's it. So done with the shifter for now. I gotta buy some parts, get some stuff going. So let's go ahead and pull the transmission pan off, see what we find under there. So there you go. Filter, nice bright red fluid because I've put it in multiple times. Everything looks good. If you are a transmission person and you see something that I should be worried about, please comment below. I do see, and this is what I was curious of, there's a kickdown wire and a kickdown solenoid. So I wonder if I can hook that up and to the sniper and make it kick down. Wouldn't that be neat? Because the Humvee, no matter what you do and what speed, what gear, it does not kick down. So interesting. Alright, so that all looks good. I'm gonna leave it be, let it drain, let it drip. Drain plug. Looks good. So now I just need to clean up the pan, paint it, put the new gasket on, torque it all down. I will be ready to go. So here's what the inside of the pan looks like. I do have some, well, the dirt and debris is from when I was cleaning the case off. This though is not. That's just metal shavings for the most part, from what I can tell. Or it might actually be dirt, because it kind of sat here and then, I don't know. It looks gray like metal shavings. But it looks good. I mean, that's nothing to complain about. So I'm going to pull this off, clean this pan up. I'll get ready to stick it back on. Voila. I used the oven cleaner again. Got the pan nice, fresh, and clean. I like the way it turned out. It's still all speckled with mud, but that's kind of the patina of the pan. And then I've got all the 1/2-inch bolts, or they use 1/2-inch socket. They're not 1/2-inch bolts, but those are torqued to 144 inch-pounds or 12 foot-pounds. And you want to put them in and, you know, go do like you would do a wheel, and just go around staggering when you tighten them. I also bought this Dun dun dun. Lube locker. Now it's kind of expensive, but it's reusable, so if I'm ever out on the trail or on the side of the road and I have to pull the pan, I can use this, put it right back, and there is no issue. So that would go like that, negative, like that. How does this thing, there we go, like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go under there, put everything together, start tightening it up, and be done with the pan. Alright, so I just got the transmission pan on. I've buttoned up all of the hoses. I think really the only thing left, if I wanted to test drive this, is a rear drive shaft and hooking up the transmission linkage. So I'm going to do that real quick, and we're going to take this thing for a spin because I want to see what that converter can do. I can fill it up, put fluid in it, hook up the shifter, put in the rear drive shaft, and I think that's it. I think I'm ready to rock at that point. Put the starter back in, that's just 2 bolts. Let me go do all that. We're gonna take this thing for a ride today. All right, might be hard to see, but I have got the shifter linkage in without the transfer case linkage. The transfer case rod that shifts the transfer case is zip tied to a cooler line to get out of the way. I've got it in high lock, which is 50-50, no differential in the transfer case, so I can drive it with only the rear drive shaft in. I've got the rear drive shaft installed. I've got fluid. I've checked the fluid. I think it's ready to run. I think it's ready to drive. So let me go put a few miles on it. Get it cycled through. When I crank it, I have to go through all the gears, get that, get the fluid kind of put through the system, make sure, top it off, drive it around for about 5 minutes, and then come back and check it. And then we're going to go for a ride. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've still got the front drive shaft right there I have to put in. I'll have to finish everything I'm going to do to this, which just new rubber top and bottom, new roll pin for the transfer case shifter. I got to wire the neutral safety switch to the starter, things like that. But let's do this. I want to see how it does. So I got bad news. Tranny's gone. Transmission gave out on me. Started whining after about 10-15 minutes. I think it just overheated. I'm not sure. So I got on some couple uphills. I could feel the transmission slipping. Had huge power. It'd go all the way to 5,500 RPM. It was a lot of fun for that little bit. I've driven it for maybe an hour, 2 hours, and transmission's completely gone. First it wouldn't shift into third. I could get second gear trying to get somewhere, and then finally it just gave up and slipped so bad I can't do anything. So the transmission enter's gone. It did get really hot. I think I just let it overheat. I think maybe the cooler wasn't sufficient for this size converter. I don't know. I'm gonna call Boss Hog Converters tomorrow and see what they think happened. But this just means that I'm gonna go ahead and do the 4L80 and the Atlas transfer case. But it also means that I can't take the Humvee to LSfest, which is a huge bummer. But I may have a plan B for LSfest. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned. This sucks. And I guess it's time to pull the transmission back out of it. And I've got a tow truck already on the way. So it is what it is.